how exactly it came about, but what we do know is it's Bruce and Talia's son. He was raised by the League of Assassins. He's headstrong, arrogant, really kind of an asshole. But eventually, as you know, time has moved on, he's kind of become a lot more likable.
Well, speaking of, you brought up Dick Grayson taking over as Batman. Have you seen the trailer? It's actually a short film for the fan-made film called Grayson.
For Grayson, yeah, I love that. That was great.
It's absolutely brilliant. It sort of deals with the same thing. Batman's dead. He's trying to figure it out. I loved the cameos by Green Lantern and Wonder Woman near the end, although I have no clue how they were supposed to.
Really comes across as it would work as a miniseries as opposed to a movie, but it did look very good and very professional.
There was way too much crammed into that 4.5-minute trailer that could never be told well in a movie. It'd be like have you ever read the Watchmen script that they tried to make in the late 80s?
Oh, God, that was horrible.
Except for the ending. I love the fact that they fell into the real world and were reading a Watchmen comic book. That I thought was brilliant.
So stupid.
It was brilliant. That was the best middle finger to all the nitpicking fans I've ever seen. I thought the ending was brilliant. The rest was terrible. Especially because the comedian's the main character in the whole thing in the present. That's not supposed to happen.
I felt like it was so stupid. It was wonderfully stupid, but stupid.
But Terry Gilliam was attached to direct at that point, and if there's a director that could have pulled that stupid script off, Terry Gilliam could have been the one to do it, I think. Robin Williams is who he wanted for Rorschach. I'm not kidding. I'm not joking.
Robin Williams in the 80s doing that.
Yeah. I think he said something like De Niro. No, it was Ron Perlman he wanted for the comedian. That I could have seen.
Perlman could work.
De Niro, he had some part for De Niro. I don't remember who he wanted, but some part was offered to De Niro when it was in pre-production before it all fell apart. But yeah, that would have been a tremendous, nice disaster, which just would have reinforced everything Alan Moore's been saying for the last dozen years or so.
Pretty much.
Speaking of, I want to get your opinion on this. You actually said something earlier that actually started a little twinge of anger in me. And you didn't mean to. And I bitched about this on my other shows before. You used the term graphic novel. Did you mean it in the correct term of graphic novel, or do you refer to trade paperbacks and comic books as graphic novels?
I probably misspoke because usually when I mean graphic novels, I refer to books made specifically for a trade, not as collections. Collections of it are just trade paperback collections.
Okay, because it just bothers me that the term graphic novel has become the accepted mainstream term for comics, such as, did you see the trailer for that animated Superman Doomsday movie 4 or 5 years ago?
I don't remember the trailer, but I'm assuming it said from the best-selling graphic novel.
Yes, the best-selling graphic novel, The Death of Superman. And I tried to throw my remote at the TV before my wife stopped me. Because it's like, what next? Are they going to say, the Batman, the best-selling graphic novel character of all time? It bothers me. I saw an episode of Law & Order Special Victims Unit. Guy had comic books. So a serial killer was writing comic books, maybe 20, 25 pages. And the cops keep going, the guy had a ton of these graphic novels in his place. And that bothers me.
It's become the mainstream thing in order to try to separate the stigma of the word comic book. They've ended it as graphic novels, and it doesn't work because, it's just comic books. But, when are you going to expect people out who are not actually comic book fans to actually know any of this crap?
I don't know, it's one of those little pet peeves that just bothers me, and then, of course, people like Brad and Scott, my co-host on Lost and Static, always dig at me with that by using that term graphic novel, because they know how much it pisses me off. And as much as I believe you, and you are right, that Frank Miller is completely batshit insane, he has a great quote about graphic novels. Whether you call them graphic novels or comic books, whether you call them a hooker or a lady of the night, they're the same thing. You can't gussy it up by pretending it's something different. And even Alan Moore, he got mad. Time magazine called Watchmen one of the best graphic novels of all time. And I can't remember if it was a print interview or not, but he said, I don't write graphic novels, I never have. I write comic books. So even he can't stand the fact that people keep calling Watchmen a graphic novel. It's a comic book. It's a comic book, that's it. Another thing is, and I know adult comics, I mean adult as in like heavy metal and stuff like that, are probably not your purview, both for you being a little bit younger and you being, well, not a pervert, like me. I've noticed a shift in adult comics. You used to have books like heavy metal and Epic Illustrated, and 1984 and 1994. Those were the titles. I don't know if you're familiar with that. And Creepy and Eerie, and that would have nudity in them. They would have adult stuff in the books, but they were not about the adult stuff. Now, the adult comics seem to be about sex and violence, and we'll try to get some story in between the sex scenes. And it seems like that there was this weird polar shift of just going from adult comics to porn comics.
I believe the term used, especially for superheroes, is adolescent male power fantasies. And in this case, it's the fact that we have a generation of people who are now becoming comic book writers or build reputations of themselves as writing stuff like this. Garth Ennis in particular is the one I think of, who write what is seemingly adult when really it's really immature.
Oh yeah, I'll agree with that. Because to me, adult is Mike Grell's run on Green Arrow. That was adult without being dirty.
I've read bits of it, not like the full.
The total straight man in pretty much both.
Yes, and the potential of life, because the end reveal is the White Lantern.
People, they're going to get out again, and they're going to be trouble. I have to kill them.
An attempt to connect to a modern audience. And
I didn't even know that was happening.
Eavesdropping on the battling O'Brien. Don't be ridiculous. Such language. Oh, I hope Molly's not around. You can hear what they're saying in there. I'm trying to hide. Oh, what are they saying? Let's use a little discretion, shall we? He's done something. She's outraged. He thinks she's overreacting. She thinks he's trying to run her life. Pretty boring, actually. But to hear them, you'd think it was a matter of life and death.
Hello, Julian.
Hello.
Quark.
Mrs. O'Brien.
Murphy's food.
I thought you said the O'Briens were arguing in there. Not Miles and Keiko. The other O'Briens, Miles and Kira.
What do they have to argue about?
Miles hit Kira's spring ball racket because she's carrying his baby, and he doesn't want her taking any risks, and she doesn't want him controlling her. But Keiko made them stop. Now they're in the let's talk this out and share our feelings part of the fight. Show's over.
Oh well. I mean, good.
It is the power of his voice, the strength of his intonation that make Barack Kadan a great singer. There are none like him.